been very beneficial for the beach activities, renourishment, all kinds of activities, and also big time for the city of Bradenton Beach. So we're fortunate we have that thing so close. With that, that concludes the liaison positions. Are there any questions on the dais? See none. We are at B, and this is Florida Statute 125.023, temporary shelter prohibition. And I'm going to read this out to you because my good friend Betsy here, she's in the audience in the front row, came in, and like a lot of people in our community, has been displaced from our home. And what's happening is the FEMA money, or however they classify to help supplement the cost in a hotel or whatever, is running out. So where are our people going to go? Where are they going to stay? How can we work? And they have a perfectly good lot. The house is being repaired, or it's going to be, hopefully not, but unfortunately in some cases, probably demoed. In her case, it's going to be demoed. And I'm going to read this, and it's very interesting. For the purposes of this section, the term temporary shelter includes, but is not limited to, a recreational vehicle, trailer, or similar structure placed on a residential property. Number 2, notwithstanding any other law, ordinance, or regulation to the contrary, following the declaration of a state of emergency issued by the governor for a natural emergencies as defined in statute 252.34 parent 8, during which the permanent residential structure was damaged and rendered inhabitable. A county may not prohibit the placement of temporary shelter on the residential property for up to 36 months after the date of the declaration, or until a certificate of occupancy is issued on the permanent residential structure on the property, whichever occurs first. If all the following circumstances apply, a resident makes a good faith effort to rebuild or renovate the damaged permanent residential structure, including but not limited to applying for a building permit, submitting a plan or design to the contrary, or obtaining a construction loan. B, the temporary shelter is connected to water and electrical outlets and does not, I'm sorry?
Utilities.
Oh, utilities, outlets. Now that's kind of where we plug in though, isn't it? Utilities, and does not present a threat to health and human safety. C, the resident lives in the temporary structure. And I want to thank Kimberly Sharon, Building Department Administrator, EOC Coordinator up in Holmes Beach, for getting me this information. And I want to thank you for coming in and
it was divine intervention.
We shared a few tears and yeah,
well,
because of the
did.
situation. Yeah, I know you did. Absolutely. So I wanted to talk to you about it. It's my understanding, and we'll have an official new building official, but I don't believe our statute officially allows this to happen. But it needs to, in my opinion. People are paying taxes. There's residential properties that have been destroyed. And the week before, I had a residential member ask me, just one of my neighbors who's lost everything. The same question, could he bring something in? So I would like to see us officially say, well, the way I'm reading this, and we have Rescinda on the line, I think it's automatic, and I just want to be able to make it clear that we can put this out to the public in our community, that this is allowed. And the city, the way I'm reading it, and Rescinda, please chime in, because I asked you to possibly to review this a little bit, because I was going to bring this up, whether or not we have to do anything, or I'm guessing we'd have to have some type of paperwork to track this, because it is our community. Can you answer, can you comment on this statute, Resenda?
If you want.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay. You would have to have, I would say, some type of form prepared through the building department, and I would have suggestions for language that you would want on there that follows the statutory requirements. One, that it's a primary structure. Two, that it was damaged. Three, it's uninhabitable. Question is, who makes that determination? And that's something that staff would have to discuss. Then authorization, in my opinion, by the city would be conditioned upon a valid application for repairs that is deemed both complete as well as in compliance with floodplain development standards, specifically substantial damage repair costs as well as any and all other improvements. And if authorized, the trailer or motorhome, if it's something like that, must be for a primary resident, because I don't think the intent when I read the statute is for rentals. And that it would be, things for safety and security, such as tied down for wind, hooked up for utilities. And then I think you could enforce that it is for temporary use only, for permanent residents, not vacation rentals. And there's nothing in the statute that prohibits the city from regulating size, location, and I think that you could even establish reporting inspections and timeframes for the use of that temporary housing. So I would say there needs to be a process built and established, because I could see where a lot of these things would pop without any kind of regulations over them and become essentially a rental campground.
Thank you. Yes, I did talk with our new floodplain manager.
Microphone.
I did talk with our floodplain manager today to see if she had any thoughts on it. The only comment that she made was with regards to something to the effect that the owner, with the county, and I think this is how she was saying it, if there's a storm coming, about getting it out of here at the appropriate time. And again, I think the county requires them to have something submitted that this is what we're going to do, this is where it's going to go, just follow through. It's just, and I think that's something that can be easily put in there. And let's face it, anybody who's able to do this, they're going to get their stuff out of there quicker, sooner rather than later. And we all learned that lesson about moving our vehicles off the island. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about. And I'm hopeful that the commission will allow our city attorney to work with the new building official and floodplain manager to put something together as quickly as possible so that we can help people out. That's my thoughts.
I just have one addition to the form as it's getting developed. It's clear, it says it can only be 3 years from the governor issuing a state of emergency. So I think we need to clearly identify on the form when that occurred, so that we don't have people abusing the 3-year period, because they can say, well, I didn't move it on until such and such a date, and that may be 6 months after.
Yes.
Not that I don't want them to have as long as they can, but this is going to restrict this as well. So it's an enforcement issue.
Correct.
So Holmes Beach already has one in place,
Yes.
and following this statute, and I'm a firm believer in not reinventing the wheel, and maybe we reach out to Holmes Beach, because I've seen their permitting processes and their permitting forms and their SOPs for their building department, and I think if we reach out to them and say, hey, you know, we're considering allowing this, what's your process and what are your requirements, and we can build off of that.
We all in agreement? Debbie, you wanna work with the department to, and Rescinda to reach out to Holmes Beach and bring that back to us?
Absolutely.
Great, that's great. I'm thrilled to death. So with that, we'll just go to the next agenda item, and we will go. Okay, the next item, discussion regarding priorities that need to be
Properties.
properties, I'm sorry.
So this is bad verbiage on my part. We have approximately 16 properties. These are the ones that are down and compromised. We're working on putting something in place. We've already sent out a letter, asked people to respond back within 45 days with whatever their intent is. We have, as of today, we have received 7 responses back that they're going to go ahead and start, request to move forward to remove those properties. So, if we run into some that don't take their own out, we have to take some type of action to remove those. So we have 2 options. The first option is we can do it through code enforcement, where we go after the property owner and cite them through code. Once they hit whatever days the limit is for the code, it's then brought before the special master. The special master makes a ruling, and if we have to go further, then we take them to court, obviously keeping track of all the time, and then putting lien on the property to get reimbursed, and then we would go in, or we would have the court order them to take the property down, the old structure. The second way is we can go through FEMA and get the necessary paperwork into them, and then we have a right to enter on our land. We could go in and just take it. The issue with doing it the second way through FEMA is then the city is going to be responsible for 12.5% of that cost. And if we're looking at now, we're down to, let's say we're down to 11, the average cost to take one of these out is between 25 and 30,000. That's going to add up to a lot of money. So when we get to this point, if we have to, and like I said, we've had a great response, so we haven't come to this, but which route do you want to go? Do you want to continue to try and force the property owner to take care of their own property, or do you want to expend city tax dollars to force them to do it?
What are your thoughts?
I've heard both sides of this. I've talked to areas that waited, they didn't get involved. I think it's Collier County, they made everybody do their own because of the amount of damage that they had. Collier County had to take out a $40 million loan to deal with their debris and other issues. So they weren't looking to add on to any other expense with regard to that, or anything else. So then the other side, up in the Panhandle, up in the city of Perry, they went through the FEMA and went in and took them out and basically placed liens, and they're waiting. So I don't know if you want to expend tax dollars. I wish Jan was here because I know the answer to that. But it's the 4 year. What would you like to do?
I guess the question I have is, does FEMA have a time limit? Do we even have time to?
Yeah,
Do that process?
if we're going to go that route, we got to start really. We're already in the process of doing it. I just asked them to hold up last week until I figured out what it was that you want to do. Because once I start calculating these numbers, and if we're going to do it, then I've got to get an RFP put together. We got to go out for contractors, and then when to push the button to do it. But we're in the situation here. The property values are high. Do you really want to justify spending additional tax dollars to help somebody out that has the property is expensive? It has to go. There's no 2 ways about it. But you're hearing from other residents that have lost anything, and there's no financial aid coming to help them. So it's really again, which way do you want to go? Either way, it's gonna take about the same amount of time. So
That's right.
let me
What's
manage
that?
that. Yeah, it's gonna take some time.
They wanna give people time.
But they are,
This
like I
is-
said,
I understand.
the stuff that's coming in is coming in pretty quick, so they're trying to move it along, so.
I mean, they're dealing with this devastation. It's hard, that's a tough one.
But I'm just concerned that at some point we're gonna have to, so do you wanna expend tax dollars to help us out, or do you wanna just go through the code route? And we're still gonna expend some money, but not like, going the other way.
I think we should go the code route and do just the normal legal process that we would follow. I think more people would respond to that anyway, that eventually they would take care of it because it will cost them money too, so.
Right, the other thing is, if we go the FEMA route, timelines are gonna be set. So we're not gonna have the luxury to tell, this person comes in and says, I just need one more month and I'm ready to go. That's gonna go away.
Yes, please.
So is there if someone wanted FEMA to help them tear their house down, is
No.
there an option for that?
No, it has to come through the city.
It has
FEMA will give them a grant of $30,000 they would have to do everything, remove the property, and they will give $30,000 to help bring it up to code, so it would go up. I don't know what it costs to build a house up on stilts, but I'm gonna say $30,000 isn't gonna be a lot of money.
Okay, no, but I'm saying, would they help them tear it down if they
No.
sold it?
No.
So they won't help.
The only way
them
FEMA will help
or-
is they will help the city, that's it.
Okay.
Other
just
than-
trying to figure it out.
Other than the grant I just mentioned for the 30 grand.
And how much does it cost to get rid of most of the,
We're,
is there an
average cost that we're saying is $25,000 to $30,000. And that's not counting staff's time, attorney time, court time.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how to help the resident more so than,
If we do it in-house, we can add or delete time, whatever we wanna do. If we go the FEMA route, we're gonna be on a schedule. Because permanent work has to be done within a certain amount. And different things now have different times, because they kinda maneuvered things around and extended some things and pulled back on some things. So if you're looking to really try to help them out, then the route to go would be to do it in-house.
well, that's what I think then.
And doing it through code enforcement extends their time out.
Yeah, we
For a
can.
significant amount.
As long as they're responding back to us, we're gonna work, like the gentleman whose house fell, or leaning. He's in the process, from what I'm told, to take legal action against the builder that it wasn't built correctly. So he's asking for extra time, because his legal team is looking at it, having it studied, engineers and whatnot. And then also with the insurance company. So he's already reached out and asked for some extended time, and we've been in contact with him and told him, that would be fine, just as long as you're actively doing something that we can see a result.
And I think by doing it through the code enforcement, we're still retaining the ability to recover our costs. Whereas through
Yeah.
FEMA, we wouldn't necessarily recover that.
If we do it on our own, I mean, even if we go through the FEMA, we could recover that cost through the court system. We would still place that lien, but again, we won't have the luxury of offering some extra time.
So I think the code enforcement makes sense.
So, Chief,
Just a
motion or just-
consensus would be fine, just so I know where we're headed.
I think we're all thinking the same thing. Code enforcement.
Okay.
We're at B, which is the one we moved down. This is resolution 25-980, a public records exemption for municipal clerks and employees, RE election worker. This is a public hearing. I will go ahead and read the resolution into the record. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Bradenton Beach, Manatee County, Florida, urging the Florida State Legislature to enact legislation to provide a public records exemption for municipal clerks and employees who perform municipal election work or have any part in code enforcement functions of the city and providing for an effective date. And advertising, there's only one reading. Again, this is a resolution. Advertising has been met. It's displayed out in the hallway. General description. Terry, would you like to discuss that, please?
This is being asked of all the cities to adopt from the Institute of Municipal Clerks, excuse me. There have been too many attacks on clerks and different ones who have to deal with elections. And that is why they're asking each city in Florida to adopt this resolution so that they can take it to the legislator and ask for changes.
Thank you. Any questions for Terry?
No, I just want to clarify, the exemption protects their personal information, correct, Terry? So that their addresses are not public information, because as she stated, public officials are very often attacked, and they're attacked at their homes. And this protects them, their home, their children, and family members from being physically attacked and even emotionally attacked and harassed. So it's mostly protecting their personal information from release, phone numbers, addresses, stuff like that.
Thank you.
That's like the sheriffs or.
Yeah, just like police
So-
officers, firemen, everybody else, they just wanna add clerks to that, and election workers.
And would this go into effect right now, or does it go into effect if they pass the legislation?
Legislation.
Yes,
State.
legislature.
Any further discussion? I will go ahead and open up for public comment. Anybody in the audience, please?
Thank you for the clarification regarding this, because to read it, it doesn't really, it's not clear to me that it's about personal information. It's not worded very well, so I just want to get confirmation that where it says that people who investigate, enforce, or otherwise provide a service that can result in contentious interactions when action is taken, and municipal clerks and their staffs fall within the need for a window for greater protection. Just want to make sure that this is not in any way impeding public record access.
No, it doesn't.
So I want that on record, that it's not, because there's a lot of situations, including my own personal situation, that is going to require questions regarding enforcement of codes and land use discussions, things presented to the CRA, and I just want to be absolutely clear that this does not impede any access to public records. It's about personal information only.
Personal information only.
Okay, thank you very much.
And just for your edification as well, Terry has 19 years' experience in dealing with public records, and Debbie Scaccione, that's her profession. She is extremely highly trained in that field.
Yeah, it's not very well worded here. I think you can all agree to that. And I mean, obviously, it's a valuable resolution. So
Absolutely.
nobody is questioning the value of that, but as it's read by a layperson, it's, it needed clarification, I feel. Thank you.
That resolution is a template that came from the Institute of Municipal Clerks. That is not something that I created. That is something that was passed around through all the state of Florida to all the municipal clerks to get their cities buy-in. So I can't change the verbiage at all,
That's
just so
fine.
you're aware.
But
Okay? I just want that on the record.
But
Thank you.
clarification.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anybody else in the audience? Seeing no one, I will close public comment. Oh, anyway, yeah, if there's nobody else, close public comment. We have a motion on the floor. If there's no further discussion, do we have a motion on the floor to approve resolution 25-980, public records exemption for municipal clerks and employees regarding election worker?
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor and a second. No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 No opposition. Motion passed unanimously. Thank you.